Hi, I'm Vim, and thanks for joining me as we take a closer look at my 2022 Mazda MX-5 RF. This car is going up for auction on Cars&Bids as I'm recording this, so if you're catching us after the auction's already wrapped up, welcome. Glad you're here. I wanted to make this video for two reasons. First, as a respectful send-off to a car that's delivered so much joy every time I've been behind the wheel. And second, to share my vision and purpose behind all the small changes I've made, so that anyone that may be interested in bidding on the car can understand exactly what was changed and why. With Mazda getting the ND2 so right, it seems that any departure from its factory form would just ruin the whole equation. Well, I'm here to show you at least one way where some carefully selected tweaks can actually enhance your experience. This RF is a Grand Touring, but with a club spec attitude. The goal here was to bring together the best of both worlds, combining the sharper motorsports forward personality of the club with the refinement and sophistication, if you will, of the GT. Quite honestly, I just wanted leather seats and a club trim, and the product planners at Mazda say no. So here we are. What are the differences between a GT and a club? And more importantly, are you giving up performance by going with the GT? On many model years and transmission configurations, that answer was yes. The GT trim had passed up on more of the performance-enhancing pieces, but not this one. For 2022, a Grand Touring RF with the manual gearbox gets the same performance hardware as the club. That includes the Sport-Tuned suspension with Bilstein dampers, the all-important limited slip differential, and the same front shock tower brace. Dynamically speaking, you're not giving up any of the performance equipment with this GT. So what then are the differences? Well, club trims stick with cloth seats, even if you spring for the coveted Recaro package. This GT, on the other hand, elevates the cabin with terracotta Napa leather seating surfaces. Details like color-matched stitchwork across the dash and doors bring it all together with a subtle but tasteful elegance. The GT's cabin faithfully keeps the Miata feeling driver-focused, while making the interior feel like a little bit of a nicer place to be. And then you have the wheels. Club models get sporty dark gray finished alloys, while the GTs come with a brighter, almost chrome-like finish that doesn't do the platinum quartz paint any favors. It can make the color look a little soft, almost rose gold in appearance, by putting greater emphasis on the color's warm departure from a regular silver. I swapped the wheels out for a set of black forged BBS wheels, the same ones found on the upgraded club models. That alone sharpened the whole presence of the car. Suddenly, platinum quartz started to look like a little more serious and interesting color, dynamically shifting in appearance from a raw silver in the shadows to a deep, pewter-like glow when hit with light. Quite an impactful change from just a set of wheels. The rest of the differences are mostly creature comforts, or as I like to call them, nice-to-haves. You've got factory navigation, auto-dimming driver's mirror, and auto-dimming rearview mirror, both of which, given the low seating position of the Miata, are far more helpful than you'd expect. Other benefits of the GT include automatic climate control, rain-sensing wipers, automatic headlights, and the surprisingly helpful adaptive headlights that swivel based on your steering inputs. Of course, being a 2022, it also includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, making the tech side of things feel modern and seamlessly integrated. The Bose audio system is good, but fails to impress at higher speeds when it's competing against wind noise, an inherent drawback of such a lightweight roadster. Let's dive more into the work that has gone into this car. Starting with the exterior design, one of the ND's biggest strengths. The profile is clean and fluid with soft, elegant curves balanced by just the right amount of tension. It feels organic, almost predatory, with wide and muscular fenders that suggest a motorsport's intent. All it really needed were a few subtle touches to bring that look into sharper focus. I started by installing the Mazda appearance package. This includes the piano black front air dam, complete with the underside air deflectors, side sill extensions, the rear bumper skirt, and that small but sleek rear spoiler. To finish off that club aesthetic, I added the black mirror caps from a club model and those diamond black forged BBS wheels. Suddenly, the hand-painted gloss black roof, which is standard on all RF models for 2022, no longer felt out of place. Yellow protective film was added to the DRL lenses to evoke a classic motorsports touch. Ceramic window tint cleans up the greenhouse while bringing together all the black accenting pieces. To finish off the front end, a carbon Miata spider grille was installed to give the car a more timeless look. And of course, the bumper beam beneath it is wrapped in black, so you won't see that strip of body color through the top part of the grille like you do on some Miatas. I decided on some smoked side markers that retain incandescent bulbs so that the flashing behavior is consistent with the front and rear turn signals. LED replacements have tended to look a bit out of place on the ND2, at least to me. All 4 bumper corner reflectors have also been replaced with paint-matched units, really cleaning up the overall appearance by getting rid of the distracting orange and red bananas that were once on there. A stubby antenna replaces the long factory unit, retaining radio reception while letting the carefully sculpted bodywork do all the talking. The better MX-5 air deflectors are often missed by onlookers, but serve as a very welcome improvement in helping reduce wind noise at speed. Moving beyond the visuals, let's talk about the drivetrain. While intake upgrades won't make a dramatic difference on these cars, this AFE Takeda shown here is one of the few that does register gains on the dyno. Even still, I'd argue those gains are minimal and fall within what I'd consider the margin of error, and that's not why I chose it. What mattered to me was the design philosophy. It's an enclosed unit that utilizes the factory fresh air ducting, while removing the resonance chambers and noise restrictors that dull the character of the stock setup. This AFE offers a larger surface area of filtration and includes a clever removable port that can be left open to add a bit more growl. If you're concerned about heat soak in the hotter months, the port cover snaps right back in place in seconds. The biggest gain to me here was finally getting a genuine under-the-hood intake sound while being able to delete the stock sound tube. The factory tube does direct intake sound into the cabin, but not without unwanted noise. It pipes in quite a bit of valve train chatter and doesn't sound intentional. This intake cleans up the auditory experience in the cabin quite a bit, and the fact that it makes throttle response feel a touch snappier, well, that's just a bonus. Moving on to the exhaust. The HKS Legamax Premium really brings this engine to life. From the outside, it gives the car a refined and sporty tone. The craftsmanship is excellent. Clean welds, great fitment, and 2 beautiful smoke chrome tips that finish off an OEM Plus appearance. To prevent the well-documented issue of the tips contacting the bumper skirt, I was very cautious and intentional when I installed it. I used aftermarket exhaust hangers, strategically placed to achieve appropriate clearance all the way around the tips, eliminating any and all risk of melted trim. So the only thing the HKS lacked was volume. It sounded fantastic from behind the car, but as the driver, I wanted more presence. I wanted that crisp, sporty exhaust note audible from inside the cabin. I decided to pair it with the Racing Beat competition midpipe, a simple but well-designed part that removes the secondary catalyst and adds a resonator. This reduces back pressure and adds the missing volume without introducing any harshness. The resonator keeps the tone clean, eliminating any rasp and drone that often come with more audible systems. Together, the HKS Axleback and Racing Beat midpipe deliver the complete experience. Roof down, you get a rich, raucous motorsport snarl as you race up the revs and flip the throttle on downshifts. Roof and windows closed, it settles into a more subdued, deep note that stays out of the way during daily driving. This pairing has made for a very pleasant experience. In fact, if you already own an ND, this is the exhaust configuration I would recommend over and over again. When it comes to suspension, I chose to leave this car completely stock, and that was intentional. I've experimented before. My previous ND2 ran Progress lowering springs, and while that made the car look fantastic, it took away a bit of the drama and liveliness at lower speeds. It made the car feel more confident for sure, but I wasn't racing it and therefore just wanted my fun back. My first ND, however, was a 2017 Club. On that car, I kept the suspension entirely stock, aside from Progress sway bars. That retained most of the Miata's playful nature, keeping it fun, while scrubbing off that initial unsettling feeling that you're about to lose the rear end before the suspension actually sets. To anyone new to the NDs, it's a sensation that can be a little alarming, so that was a welcome mod. Ultimately, these experiences amounted to me realizing what I valued most about Miatas. That playful and eager chassis that feels so active and alive even at lower speeds. I've owned cars like an AP1 S2000 where the magic doesn't really happen until you're well past what public roads allow. A big part of the Miata's charm is that it has this ability to take rotten roads and somehow make them feel smooth, manageable, and dare I say, fun. So this time around, preserving that character meant keeping the suspension exactly as Mazda intended. Inside, the cabin is in excellent shape. The terracotta Nappa leather has yet to really start breaking in, with no notable creasing or discoloration. The dash, door trim, and stitching all present exactly as they should. Every touch point, like the steering wheel, shifter, and all the switchgear, still feel tight and precise, with none of the wear you often see on higher mileage cars. The infotainment system operates smoothly, wireless CarPlay works reliably, and the Bose audio system delivers a clean, full sound that suits the Miata's compact cabin. I installed a Rove front and rear dashcam setup as well, including a parking feature. The rear-facing unit is affixed to an Alt Manufacturing rear cam mount that cleverly attaches to the wind blocker. The camera's barrel style, giving you the ability to simply rotate it forward to capture in-cabin footage of spirited backroad runs. The retractable roof functions flawlessly, with a smooth, consistent operation both up and down. The Miata's interior is simple by design, but when everything is this well kept, it delivers a sense of quality that makes the car feel special every time you climb in. When I first laid eyes on an RF model in person, it was Mazda's matte black Kuro concept at SEMA 2016. The concept featured a subtle heritage decal on the rear of the car, calling to the company's founding year, 1920. With the help of my wife, we recreated the decal for my RF. I felt it served as a nice way to put a bow on the car without being shouty about it. Something subtle and tasteful that only people in the know might recognize. To the curious, the Japanese characters read MAZDA. It's cut from 3M automotive grade vinyl, so if it's not for you, you could peel it right off, leaving no residue or damage. But if you're looking at this car, you've got great taste, so I'm sure you'll leave it on. What more can be said? With fewer than 9,000 miles, this RF has lived a careful, intentional life, driven just enough to be enjoyed, but never enough to lose that sense of freshness that makes a great example stand out. We covered the differences between the GT and Club trims, the reasoning behind the modifications that I chose, and the small touches that give this car its personality. My hope is that this video gave you not just information, but a clearer sense of the vision behind it all, why each decision was made, and how those decisions come together in the final experience. Thank you for staying with me on this farewell journey. I do hope it helped you view it in more detail and maybe even imagine yourself in the driver's seat. That's the thing about Miatas. They'll sneak their way into your heart. Even journalists who spend their days driving supercars and exotics will admit that there's something very special about these things, that they're unquestionably fun to drive. There's a rare sincerity to the way a Miata moves, a kind of pure, unfiltered honesty that speaks directly to the driver. This is not a sports car, it's a dance partner. It exists only to connect you to the road in a way that reminds you how driving is meant to feel. So while I'm letting this one go to explore something with a different kind of energy, history has taught me that these detours never last very long. I always end up missing that sense of lightness and connection that the Miata does so well, and eventually I find my way back. If you're watching this video while the auction is still live, happy bidding. If you're seeing it later, I hope this video offered you something meaningful about the car and the process. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. I do hope that this Miata will go to someone who will enjoy it as much as I have. So until next time, happy motoring.